Okay, this is further proof that Tradcons and feminists are on the same team. And they're here for controlled opposition. This is the feminist, Colonel Kurtz, talking to Tim Pool, who's the Tradcon, and they obscure men's issues. And they know better by now. So let's hear this.
Let's jump into it. How does this begin? What starts it? How do we get to this point?
So I think there's several things going on. I know, Shane, you have a lot to say as well. But I think that a media that increasingly celebrates victimhood. So there's
No. It doesn't celebrate victimhood. It's a feminist media that attacks men. If it just celebrated victimhood, then men could get in on it. So she knows better. She's been told.
There's a lot of currency that one can get, just like Evan Rachel Wood. And
No, this isn't about currency. Rachel Wood isn't gaining lots of money from this or positive fame. She wants to damage Marilyn Manson because Marilyn Manson is a guy. Period. See, they're always altering the framing to protect these people.
And Amber Heard, who both wanted to build activist careers and credentials.
Okay, they're calling feminist activist. Now, can you imagine if you called the Ku Klux Klan activist? That's what they're doing. This woman who's a feminist is trying to put feminism in a good light. You are part of a hate movement.
On the backs of these false allegations against Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson.
Exactly.
You also have the infantilization of women we mentioned earlier.
No, they're not infantilizing them. They've got privilege and they're all about attacking men. It's actually dehumanizing men, privileging women, but dehumanizing men. That's what it is. It's not infantilizing, whatever. Sorry, I'm screwing up the word.
The notion that a woman of 18, 19 is now just a child, when in the past she would have been married or well on her way to marriage, having multiple kids, running a household, and so forth.
But they aren't considering a child, right? They don't. This isn't about taking away anything from women. It's about saying that a man with a relationship with a young woman has done something wrong. They want to get the man. You know this by now.
What are some factors you see?
I see it's directly connected to Marxism. And
holy shit. This false narrative will never die. This loser here knows that feminism is about women attacking men. They always jump to this bullshit Marxist, the all-powerful Marxists that have never achieved anything at any time. Dude, if it was Marxist, it wouldn't be so sex selective, would it? It wouldn't just be women attacking men.
It's like what Tim was saying, it's a power play. And, you look at Evan Rachel Wood, she came out, for those who don't know, she accused Manson of impropriety. And she came out and said that her abuser was Manson the day after Trump was elected. Clearly a very political.
This has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing. Whatever she said, you guys know better. You're trying to make this about a left-right dichotomy. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Never did.
And she admitted it was because of that too. She said, because Trump's been elected, I'm going to tell you now who my abuser was.
And
well, you guys are certainly painting a false narrative. If Trump wasn't elected, she'd be doing the exact same thing.
An easy target because he looks a certain way. He said a bunch of things that a lot of people say are wild, but
no. He's a guy. That's it. It's nothing to do with what he looks like or what he said. He's a guy. She's a girl. She doesn't like him because women don't like men. And so she attacked him. She does it for fun. When you see the big smile on her face, you realize she's enjoying herself. That's the motivation.
He's always been the victim, oddly enough, on the in the media.
Right.
So I think it was a power play for her because she saw, like you said, victimhood as a status, and that he was a step in her way.
No. It's not about victimhood. And it's not status. She's not gaining any status from this. She's enjoying destroying this man. Come on.
Into being like the victim princess, all the way up to creating laws,
Yes.
right? Which is what Marxists want to do to subvert what we have going on today.
So Marxists want to create laws that attack men only. No, dude, no.
In America, which is like a court of law.
You Tradcons are complete cowards. Just complete cowards. How dare you not have the courage to say feminist? Well, what it is, you have the courage to say that women are against you. You would be arguing with Colonel Kurtz if you admitted it. You should say, you can't attack feminists because I'm one. And look at all the good we've done.
Law that you could hopefully trust, which obviously has got flaws, but she used her Manson abuse as a way to go to Congress and to the California state,
Yes.
pass new law, change laws, and also her girlfriend at the time, Ilma Gore, was an activist.
Right.
No, she was an activist. You're doing it again. You're framing this person as a good person. She's a Ku Klux Klan person. She's a part of a hate movement. She's not an activist.
Ilma Gore, I like to say, was the very first Jussie Smollett because she claimed to be punched or something.
She was
Trump
told this
supporter.
ridiculous story to the media, and this was prior.
Well, she's lying, right? It doesn't matter if it's a ridiculous story, if she's believed, or the media doesn't even necessarily have to believe her. They're going to run with the story. That's the important thing. The media is feminist media. It doesn't have to believe her. They could know it's a bold-faced lie. What she's doing is giving them a way to destroy a man.
Prior to what Evan Rachel Wood claimed, but
Yeah.
she claimed that she painted this work of art. That's her most famous work of art, and it's Trump with a micro penis. And she
Yeah, well, she's attacking men, right? Now, this has nothing to do with, she knows that a lot of men like Trump. So that's what he's doing. It's proxy. Trump is just a stand-in for the average right-wing guy.
She claims, I guess, that she's just so well known for that work of art that some random Trump supporters kidnapped her and drove her around in a van.
Saw her on the
punched
streets of
her
LA.
away.
Yep.
So this is like way worse than Smollett.
Yeah, but she was pre-Smollett, but didn't get the credit that Smollett got. So I think she's bitter. This is why her and Evan Rachel Wood, I think.
It's worse than Smollett, eh? Okay, I believe you. You know why? Because it's been getting worse every decade, right? One of the reasons it's getting worse is because you guys provide cover for these monsters.
Teamed up on Manson.
Yeah, and so she started dating Evan Rachel Wood, and it was a kind of a perfect storm where the two of them concocted this plan to.
It wasn't a perfect storm. You're acting like all these various, I gotta think of the right word, things got together to make it happen. It can happen no matter what. Any woman can make up any lie about any man. That's the way it's set up now.
To not only falsely accuse Manson, but to recruit other former girlfriends.
Right, girlfriends. They're all women. If this was a Marxist thing, what happened to all the male Marxists? Did they disappear? Did they said, sorry, we're all sick? We can't come out today? Right. So you're admitting this is female versus male. So stop calling it Marxist.
And female acquaintances of Manson to also make accusations that one of them has now recanted, Ashley Morgan Smith line. One of the main accusers, she was on the cover of People magazine talking about what a monster.
You're also admitting that women lie about men all the time in vast numbers. Even though this woman recanted, it means she started with the lie in the first place. You're admitting that women don't like men and they're willing to lie to harm men, and they do it all the time.
Mr. Manson was, well, she recanted in a legal declaration, said that it was a hoax, and she lied, and she was pressured into this by Evan Rachel Wood with, and also
But it's not really a hoax, it's a slander. Again, what do you feminists do? You always change the language to soften things. And you've been told this already, Kurtz. I know. I've messaged you and you've responded to me. I said, it's not a hoax. It's a woman slandering a man to destroy his reputation, to destroy him. This is actually attempted murder, because destroying his reputation destroys his career. Men need their careers, women don't. You don't have really much of a career. You've got a boyfriend. You could dump your YouTube channel and shack up with your man. But I can't do that with a woman. So this is attempted murder in a way.
also promised that she was going to have, high exposure, and it was going to restart her modeling career and all of that, which didn't happen. But and the other thing that people don't understand,
but she wasn't aiming for that anyway,
is that Manson's former assistant, a woman named Ashley Walters, this was his personal assistant, she gave all of his social media and email information, passwords, logins, his phone information.
So you're admitting another woman was involved attacking a man who was good to her and gave her a job. Kurtz, you're not painting your sex out as very good, for lack of a better frame. Lack of a better word, I should say. You're not framing your gender very well.
And contacts, everything. She gave all of this to Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore so that they could recruit more women to join this scam.
Yeah. Wow.
And so what's crazy,
how could they recruit women to a scam unless the women were willing? Right?
about the Manson situation is that it really is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard times 10, because as much media play as the Amber Heard allegations got, and as horrible as they were for Johnny Depp, this is really what Evan Rachel Wood did. It is really on a whole other level.
They swatted Manson.
They
You
did.
see the government.
That's attempted murder, by the way, Evelyn. Swatting is attempted murder. The SWAT team surprises the man. He reacts, instinctively, and then they shoot him. So this is attempted murder.
I hear y'all been swatted too.
Yeah, 15 times.
Yeah, you see the government working in tandem with this victim.
Hold it. Did she ask that Tim was swatted? Here, let me hear.
You see the government
I
working
hear
in
y'all
tandem.
been swatted too.
Yeah, 15 times.
Yeah, you see the government working in tandem with this victim.
Well, that's saying a lot, dude, whoever you are. Because it tells us that the government is feminist run. Right? It's full of feminists and Tradcons who hate other men. Dude, another man who's on your political side would swat you in a heartbeat. The next man is your enemy. And you're his.
Fake victim,
Right.
like Evan Rachel Wood,
Right.
like to create the laws to get him swatted, lose all his jobs.
So what's happened to Evan Rachel Wood since then?
She's had multiple documentaries. Netflix
She
put
had
out
a two-part
wonderful
HBO
propaganda piece.
Two-part HBO.
That's right. She's a woman, so she's not going to get she's not going to be thrown behind bars for criminal activity. We don't do that anymore. Not that they did a lot of it in the first place.
HBO
But
documentary.
this is all fact that it's a hoax.
I mean, it depends who you ask.
I mean, there's people who would still defend Amber Heard.
No, it doesn't depend who you ask. It's either true or it isn't, pal.
But no, if you look at the evidence, it is very clear that this is a hoax. And, Evan Rachel Wood, she and Ilma Gore, they forged an FBI letter. They faked an FBI letter and put the name of an agent, a real agent, on this.
This is known, but how come she isn't behind bars? Because they're not interested in putting women behind bars, right? And she didn't commit a crime to them. She's trying to destroy a man, and that's fine with our society.
In order to try to, well, this is a whole other story, but Evan Rachel Wood was withholding her child from Jamie Bell, the father of her child, and she kidnapped the kid and went to Tennessee against Jamie Bell's wishes and ended up losing custody because of this.
But was she thrown behind bars for kidnapping? No, she probably has her freedom still, right?
But she devised this fake FBI letter to try to explain to Jamie Bell and the court why she needed to run away with the kid because she was afraid for her life, in LA.
Oh, by the way, this is standard practice from women all the time. They get divorced. They're the ones who initiate the divorce, and then they estrange the father from the child. This is standard practice.
I would say Evan Rachel Wood is still looked at as a darling, though, in the media.
She is.
Whereas Manson's still, the villain.
She is.
Yeah, she's a woman, he's a guy. You, pal, better come to terms with how you're viewed in society. Men are villains, women are the good guys, no matter what.
That's the issue. And like, how do you break that spell where, because Manson's made himself this, the dissenter all these years, right? He was blamed for Columbine.
Controversial figure, extremely,
right?
yeah.
He was blamed for all these different things. There's all these rumors about him. People believe.
Yeah, if he had been a female artist, they wouldn't be blaming him for Columbine. That's simple.
All of this stuff, and at this point where he's getting Me Too'd, people are just like, oh, that makes sense because he's the monster he's always been, according to the media, right?
There you go. Tim Fool here asked, where did this all come from? Right? You got Me Too'd, and the average person supports it. Because the average person is hostile to men. That's you, pal, whoever you are. Right? That's where it comes from. And you guys actually know where it comes from and what's going on. You just can't admit it. You're damaging society by providing cover for what's going on.
Right.
But the media works in tandem with the activists and with the government.
Don't call them activists, you loser. And you're right. The media is feminist controlled and the government is feminist controlled. Right? And that, by the way, dude, if Trump, that you love so much, gets into the government, that doesn't change any of this. It doesn't stop Me Too at all. Trump would support Me Too.
So It's like they've created an alternate reality where Manson is the bad guy no matter what. He's a character.
No. It's not an alternate reality. This is reality. This is, men are hated. It's that simple. Dude, are you married? Do you have children? If your wife divorces you, makes you pay child support, and you can't afford to pay your child support, they'll call you, other right-wing men will call you a deadbeat, even though it's out of your hands. Even though the judge charges you more than you can make, the average right-wing guy will call you a deadbeat.
Caricature, and people buy into it.
And the media,
Evan Rachel Wood is an innocent angel.
Exactly. And the media are not interested, as you know, Tim, they're not interested in the counter narrative. And so there are a lot of people, for example, who...
Well, why would they be interested in a counter narrative? They're the ones making up a narrative. They're interested in their narrative.
We're not aware of the fact that Manson's ex-wife, Dita Von Teese, and his ex-fiancée, Rose McGowan, have both come out publicly and said, this man is not an abuser. And so there's actually a great counter-narrative in Manson's favor, but the media...
Well, the fact that they're ignoring it tells you everything. The media wants this man destroyed for no other reason that he was born male. Kurtz. That's your feminism, Kurtz. The feminism that you espound, that's what it is. So if you're backing it, then you're for this too. And that's why you call this slander and criminality a hoax.
They're just not interested in promoting that.
So-
And go ahead.
I want to get into like the core of Me Too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how does this start?
I think it's a
Women don't like men, and they've always worked in tandem to destroy men for fun. Again, you look at Rachel Wood, she's got a big smile on her face. This is party time for her. So for you to play like you don't know at this stage, even 5 years ago for you to say this, just shows you what a disingenuous person you are, Tim Fool.
Tendril of Marxism to seek
What do you mean by
power,
that?
like
Shut up about the Marxism, you coward.
Marxism wants to own you.
Mhm.
It wants to own the means of production. The humans are the means of production, like in Mao.
So the humans are the means of production, and yet they want to own you. Aren't you a person? So you would want to have the means of production. You would want to open your own shop and make something with your own hands and sell it.
Maoist China, you know,
Mhm.
they destroy all art, language. You now work for the state. And if you don't, you'll get struggle sessioned into oblivion. Me Too is a form of a struggle session. So when I say it's a tendril, it's like that's just one way to destroy modern society, or the West in particular.
Okay, this is more horseshit. Women are attacking men, and so we need a scapegoat.
Me Too became that struggle session, or like, you know, they would have.
Women don't like you, dude. I know you have a very hard time coming to terms with this.
They would have, Mao would have dissenters had their heads chopped off in the town square while making children watch as they sang the national anthem.
What does this got to do with Me Too, genius?
So we haven't really gotten to that point yet, but these struggle sessions, these Me Too sessions that happen online where you're kind of digitally stoned are that.
Yes.
To a degree. You lose your whole livelihood no matter who you are, no matter how big it is. So
No. Not how, no matter who you are. If you're female, this does not happen to you.
I think Marxism is a seed of the Me Too stuff, just like how BLM was, and they said they're Marxist, the two ladies who started.
This is, look, feminism comes from women, right? And feminism predates Marxism. So stop blaming Marxism. The average woman on the street, the woman that's sitting next to you, Colonel Kurtz, she enables this shit.
BLM are like, we are Marxist.
Mhm.
So that's what this is, you know? And I think it's just out of control. I'm not saying everyone involved in the Manson stuff
I
or
understand.
Amber Heard are like thinking.
She's not out of control, dude. These women are in complete control. They do what they like, and they don't get jailed for it.
We're Marxists, but they just don't realize it.
Who was the guy at NBC that got Me Too'd?
Brian Williams?
No.
Oh, wow.
Who's the guy who got Me Too'd? Notice you never say who's the lady who got Me Too'd. Must be one of those coincidences that happen over and over again. You know, some guy whips up his 5th royal flush. He can't be cheating. You know, the gods just must be on his side.
Matt Lauer.
Oh, Lauer,
Yeah.
right.
They claimed that he had a button on his desk that would lock the door, and he was like, "That's insane. I don't have that."
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's
enough
the
about it.
problem too with a lot of Me Too claims. I mean, I don't know enough about Lauer to say either way on him, but it's a he
You know enough to know that it's a lie. You've seen enough cases.
said, she said most of the time, and so unfortunately, society has just decided, or the media have decided, that when it's a he said, she said, then we believe women.
The
And that's-
Well,
media-
there's that viral image of the poster at the university that says John was drunk, Jill was drunk,
Yeah.
Jill couldn't
know.
consent. It
Right.
was rape.
The media is really good at creating character.
Really? So what do you plan on doing about this? You can't do anything because you're blaming Marxist. I don't know any Marxists personally. I bet you don't either. So why are you blaming them, you cowards?
Pictures. And once they've can convince you that this person is the caricature they said it is, then they can convince you of anything that that person's done. Manson is like the perfect one. Well, so is Trump. There's a bunch of them, but Manson and Trump in particular, oddly enough,
No, it's interesting you can
are
mention in
very
the
similar.
same sentence, but it's very true.
because they're
They're both men. Yeah, that's right. I know what happened with Trump. He bragged about how he was truthful about female nature, and it wasn't flattering, and that's why they've been after him since. It has nothing to do with being left right.
both kind of become, I hate to say they're victims, but they're victims of the media apparatus that's turned them into caricatures.
Johnny
where now they
Depp.
can say,
Yeah.
Depp too.
Crazy.
Depp is crazy.
And
that
he's
whole thing is
still
nuts.
getting it. I mean, you were talking about Vice, they're in
Yeah.
they're in the pits now.
That's right. Feminists never let go. Their whole lives is destroying men. That's what they live for, and they never let up. The only way they can let up if they're put behind bars.
Now, and I'm good riddance to them, but they just came out with a documentary once again trying to promote the idea that not only that Johnny Depp was guilty, but also that Johnny Depp's followers know that he hit Amber and don't
Dude,
care because she deserved
crazy.
it. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. They will
It's not ridiculous or crazy. It's horrendous. It's horrendous that a hate movement has this kind of influence on our society.
create many loopholes in logic to make sense of the narrative they want you to believe. Like
Right.
they need to cram.
It doesn't matter if it's logical. They're just making up lies. If you want to be honest about this, dude, whatever your name is, just say they're lying. And it works. So it doesn't matter. What's crazy to you, it's only crazy to you because you can't admit what's going on. It makes perfect sense when you realize what's going on. Well, you do. You just can't admit it.
It down your throat, which is why the Manson thing is so interesting to me, because you were talking about accountability earlier. There's been no accountability for everything you've just described with Evan
No.
Rachel Wood. She's literally forged FBI letters.
Kidnapped her
She's
kid,
literally kidnapped her kid.
lost custody.
All these things, been caught lying, all this stuff. Other accusers.
Yeah, exactly. So how come she got away with it? Did she wave her Marxist flag, dude?
Have recanted, like you said, but the media refuses to accept any of that as a reality.
Yes.
And doubling down on Manson being the victim, or the villain rather, or Depp being the villain. I'm not.
Yeah, they're out to get these guys. They're a hate movement. They're out to get these guys because they're guys.
saying these guys are all angels either.
No, we're not saying that at all.
Clearly, no one's
And
perfect.
I think, and let me
It
just say,
doesn't matter if they're angels or not. They're either guilty of the crime they're accusing them of, or they aren't. It's always you guys handing out like an olive branch, right? If a man is attacking a woman, none of this happens. They don't say, well, she wasn't the best person in the world. No, you just say flat out, someone's getting railroaded, right?
I think also that is why it's so difficult for so many men, celebrity men who are caught in the crosshairs of this. It's so difficult for them to defend themselves because they do have some shady stuff in their background.
Right.
No. This legal system is geared up against them. That's why they can't defend themselves. Like Kurtz, a man shouldn't have Johnny Depp's wealth and go through a year or so of trials just to get some justice. An impoverished man, if someone accuses him of if he gets slandered, there should be an immediate effect, just like someone punched you in the face, just like assault. What's that they say? A man is allowed a speedy trial or something like that. I forget how it goes. But the impoverished, ordinary guys can't afford this. And frankly, neither can the wealthy guys. Because Johnny Depp almost lost his career over this. And he lost a year of his life, or whatever length it took for the trial to get over.
don't mean shady like abuse, but I just mean, rock stars, movie stars, what have you. And
Right.
to me, it really reminds me of The Crucible. If you read The Crucible, the
Nice.
hero of The Crucible, John Proctor, he waits until it's too late to challenge the court. He waits until it's too late to act because he knows that he has an extramarital affair in his background and he lives in a Puritan society and he doesn't want that exposed. And I think that someone like Marilyn Manson, for instance, I know that he's fighting back in the courts, but it is very difficult for him to fight back publicly because
Well, we don't live in those times. Right? So even if he was screwing around, even if he had a wife that he screwed around on, it's not the same as the Crucible.
he has had that rock star lifestyle, and I know he's got shady stuff in his past, again, not abuse or whatever, but I think that these men are almost, no pun intended, kind of neutered in a way in that they can't fully fight back.
They're not neutered. The legal system is corrupted against them. The legal system is sexist. Colonel Kurtz. That's how you frame the truth.
Because you have to be like pure as the driven snow these days to make it.
It wouldn't matter. You saying shady stuff, you don't mention anything. Obviously, he isn't in the shady stuff. Because if you got particular, it'd say, yeah, he banged women. Oh no. A man got laid. That's shady, right? You have nothing to offer when you say they're shady. So it doesn't matter that whether they're, pure as the driven snow. These hate mongers are out to get men no matter what. And actually, the nicer they are, the more dogged these feminists are to get them. So that actually proves what a good guy Manson is.
Even that's not good enough.
No, it's not.
They'll just make it up.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You cover this a lot.
Finally, Tim Fool said the right thing. They just made it up. They just lied. Yes, finally. You are framing it correctly.
You've done Depp and Cuomo and Manson. Do you see it, Me Too stuff, kind of the hysteria dying down now? Even though they're still...
It's not hysteria, dude. That would be like you're doing it again. You're saying the average woman, if she does it, she's out of her mind. She's not just criminal, and it definitely doesn't say anything about female nature, does it? It happens so much now. The women that do it usually aren't even connected in any way. So it just goes to show you that women don't like men. They love harming us.
Trying to go after Depp after,
I
all
feel
that
like there are two worlds right now. There's the world of normal people, and then there's the media heavily politicized world. I think that normal people...
So politicized world. So feminist world. That you are wrong, Kurtz. You consider yourself a normal person. You will not blame feminist. You are a feminist. You want that for men to be beneath you. You believe in gender roles, the ones where the guy's the provider and you get the leech off him. So there aren't two worlds. There's one world. You just aren't willing to admit it.
People are hip to this bullshit now, and I think that more and more people understand that believe all women is a very problematic ideology and believe in the presumption of innocence and are sick of Me Too. The problem is, though,
they can say they're sick of Me Too all they want. None of these people do anything. You aren't doing anything. Tim Fool isn't doing anything. Whoever this guy they're talking to isn't doing anything. If you want change, you've got to involve yourself in change.
and it's like you were talking about with advertisers, someone like Marilyn Manson, for instance, the position he's in, or others, is that these corporations, these record labels, whatever we're talking about, they're scared to death of any hint of scandal when it comes to anything like assault or rape or abuse. And so there's a lag. I think what's going on is there's a lag there's a lag going on between the normal people who I think have caught on and the media and the corporate world.
There's not a lag. You know, this has been going on for years. People haven't done anything is because they don't want to.
And these institutions that have still not changed.
The other thing when I think about the Marxist seed of Me Too,
Shut up.
is that a lot of the people, and it's not all of them, but a lot of the people we're talking about now are dissenters. And dissent is like the highest form of sin to a Marxist, right?
That is true,
is
yes.
I can't play the rest of this. You are a part of this problem. I can't stand listening to your voice anymore. You lying sack of shit. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. You got these scummy Tradcons and these, let's face it, I'll say it about Kurtz, these scummy feminists working together to make money, you know, get their fame off of talking about an issue that they do not want to change for the better. Because these two types of people are anti-male. Kurtz is anti-male. Tim Pool is anti-male. Like I say, they would throw another man under the bus in a heartbeat. Like I said, dude, if you found a guy on child support and he couldn't pay it, you'd call him a deadbeat dad until it was your turn. And then you'd say, hold it, I've got this halo over my head. Don't look at me. That's what you guys are about. So I'm not going to go the last 3 minutes. I can't stand this liar talking about Marxist.